Let's just return to Wall Street, and we promised you a greater analysis of what's happening in the global markets, and Peter Cardillo now joining us. Peter, good evening. Thanks so much for joining us here. Well, 24 hours ago, didn't we think that Tuesday was the deadline for progress on the stocks for the stimulus package? Now it seems to be far more open-ended, and the market's rejoicing on Wall Street, even as it's a totally different picture, diametrically opposite across the Atlantic in Europe.
Yeah, well, basically, I think what the market is saying here is, and I sort of agree with it, that the fact that Pelosi basically extended the deadline, even though she didn't say it officially, is that we'll probably get some sort of an agreement. Now, of course, there's opposition from the majority Senate leader, Mitch McConnell, who is basically saying that there will be no vote until after the elections. But I think, with the elections just 2 weeks away, the fact that we can get an agreement between the White House and the Democrats, I think that offers a lot of hope. And I think that's the reason why the market is not falling apart here.
So, Peter, basically the markets are still factoring in, right? The stimulus package is going to come in sooner than later. This is all, of course, happening ahead of the presidential election debate as well, which Indian Standard Time would be our Friday early morning.
Yeah, well, look, the market, I think, as I said before, I think it's already to a certain degree discounted a change of guard at the White House. And if the polls are accurate, it does look like, that Biden is going to win. Of course, there are those swing states that could surprise again and basically, maybe repeat what we saw in the last elections. I doubt that very much. But there's always that possibility, and the market is actually handling itself pretty good, considering that the chances of Biden winning look pretty good at this time. So I think what the market is really focusing on is the fact that no matter who wins, we're going to get a stimulus package. The question is, how big? And I think, if Biden wins, we'll get a big one. If Trump wins, we'll probably get a big one too, because what we're looking at here is a very uneven recovery. Next week, we will have the first glimpse of GDP for the third quarter, and it's going to be a very strong one. Probably it's going to smash records. I'm looking for maybe 23%, but there are calls out there for growth in the third quarter to exceed 30%. Now, of course, we know that it's a meaningless number because it's the quarter that reflects the full opening of the economy and rising from the ashes, so to say. So that number is not really a number that is showing the true economic growth rate. It's just a fictitious anomaly, you might say. So, but nevertheless, the economy remains, as I said, uneven, and we need those stimulants. If we don't get those stimulants, then I think you can say that this market could be headed for a serious pullback.
Okay, Peter, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Thanks so much for joining us right here on ET Now.